Ever since Dark Souls 3's release back in 2016, there has been one character which has been on the sharp end of misinformation and misunderstanding: Pontiff Sulyvahn. And while it's easy to understand why people view him so badly, there is so much more to this character, and he is far more tragic than people give him credit for. So in today's video, we'll be taking a deeper look and a deeper dive into a character that has been so misunderstood for so many years. Just wanted to say quickly, 1, thank you so much. We just hit 2.5 thousand subscribers and it means the world to me. If you're new here, thank you so much for sticking around. It means the world to me, and I really do hope you enjoy the video. Secondly, I just wanted to say you might see later in the video clips that aren't mine, taken from other channels. I will put credit. The simple reason is I can't get some of the clips. Like, I'll give an example quickly. The Pontiff Sulyvahn boss fights. I physically cannot get that at the moment, simply because, stupidly, I forgot to record it when I was doing it, and as my only save on DS3 right now is my SL1, and as I'm at Soul of Cinder, I would have to do it all over again, which I really don't want to do for one video. I am really sorry. And finally, the last thing, I did in fact get a pop filter for my birthday, so that means that there won't be any more popping peas or any popping sounds coming from the mic. As to be honest, I just want to make a quality experience for you all. The great misunderstanding of the Pontiff starts in the Road of Sacrifices with Onrey of Astora and her companion Horus. These two were child prisoners of the Pontiff, and as we later learn in the questline, they went under horrific torture, forced to watch their fellow friends die right before their eyes. Only Horus and Onrey survived. And you might be thinking, like so many people, Pontiff Sulyvahn is one evil bastard. And you'd be right if this was 100% the Pontiff. You might be thinking even more now, what are you on, Gecko? But to give an explanation for this, we must go back to the Pontiff's roots. Back to the painted world of Ariandel, the place where he was born. Only, coincidentally, the painted world is for those who have no place in the other world. But as he was born there, he was more an outsider in the painted world than he was out. So, eventually, the young sorcerer ventured outside the painted world, leaving his parents and carers and those that loved him dearly. Only unseen to the Pontiff, this could have been the worst decision he could ever have made. For on his pilgrimage outside of the painted world, he came across a city known as the Profaned Capital. The Profaned Capital was flooded with fire eons ago by the linking of the fire of their very own king, Yhorm the Giant, who did everything in his power for his people. And from this, or perhaps it was already there and it simply waited until its destruction, the Profaned Flame was born. Like many others, I, when I first saw the Profaned Flame, thought this must have something to do with the first flame. After all, given the tragic event that happened, and that it has the same sort of architecture as the first flame, and that the fire is linked with the old gods and the first flame, it just all very looks like it links together. And you'd be right to a degree, but there is also another massive element to this. We are told on our travels that when the Pontiff looked into the Profaned Flame, he was consumed by it, and was driven to madness, lust, desire, all things impure he became a conduit for. Same with everyone else who has looked into the flame. Like the people who look after the flame, still to this very day, consumed by it, who has somehow managed to control the very profaned flame, using it as their very own weapon. But it wasn't just flame that the Pontiff stared into. He also stared into an abyssal heart, located within the flame. The Pontiff stared into the abyss, and the abyss stareth back, and the lives of so many people were changed forever. But I don't believe the Pontiff's actions were his own. I believe he was being controlled. All the evidence we have suggests that this wasn't his actions. It's not directly stated, but it is very heavily implied. The moment that sweet boy from the painted world stared into the profaned flame, he died. Or perhaps he didn't even die. Perhaps he's still alive to this day until we kill him. Perhaps he's still alive deep in the back of the consciousness of the pontiff, simply a slave to the doings of whoever controls him. But an even greater question comes from this. Who is the profaned flame, and who controls the pontiff? I believe it to be none other than Aldia, scholar of the first sin, someone who is both linked to the light and the dark. Aldia has long been theorised to be the mentor of Lothric. And you might be thinking, where has he been all this time? It has literally been eons upon eons. Well, this might be it. Another theory that has come up time and time again is that the pontiff is in fact this secret mentor. The main proof that people cite for this is the statue inside of Lothric. I got this off a video, but I honestly can't remember the creator. He did a video basically on Aldia being inside Dark Souls 3. It was a great video. The theory's been around for a while, but he really revamped it and made it so great. I have no idea who this was. I watched it quite a while ago now. If any of you know, please let me know down below and I will put it in the pinned comment right away. When you combine the two, it makes so much sense and I absolutely love it. Yes, the pontiff might be the secret mentor, but it's Aldia talking through pontiff, controlling pontiff to allow him to mentor Lothric. It makes so much sense. Another piece of evidence lies in the fact that Sullivan actually took over Irithyll, and you might be thinking, no shit Sherlock, but look at it like this. Irithyll would definitely not go down without a fight. He would need backing, he would need support. Who better than Lothric? Who better than the child he mentored long ago and indoctrinated? Perhaps this was all part of their plan, or more likely Aldia's plan, long in the making. If you're not familiar with Dark Souls 2's lore, I'm not particularly. It's the game that I've played least, but I know enough to give you an explanation as to why I think this was Aldia. Aldia's goal is to create a third option, one of both light and dark, and we must do this to get his ending, to get the true ending, where we choose nothing. We don't choose light or dark, we're in a grey area where we do nothing. We step outside of the cycle of light and dark and create our own bracket, one of both instead of just the singular. And the profaned flame really fits this. It is both light and dark. And then when you also take into the consideration that Pontiff Sullivan is most likely being controlled by Aldia, and then you see that Lothric does in fact refuse to link the fire but doesn't side with dark, it becomes quite clear what is going on here. The kingdom of Lothric now becomes another victim of Aldia's madness, greed and desire and ambition. If you look at it, everything now stems back to Aldia. He may have been a main character inside Dark Souls 2, but in Dark Souls 3 he is the main character. He is the one hiding in the shadows, he is the one that has orchestrated everything. He is the one that reached into the recesses of the Pontiff Sullivan's mind controlling him and making him a slave to his own body, and then used that same body to whisper into the young prince's mind to manipulate him towards completing his goal, completing his ambition that he has strived for eons. Another thing that makes me think the profaned flame is in fact Aldia is the fact that the dark isn't inherently bad. We know this time and time again, and canonically it is stated that it is not bad. This abyss, this darkness, is something else. While yes, they hold similarities, this is a different type of abyss. This is Aldia's abyss, and with the fact that he is also the brother of the one who would inherit Gwyn's flame, it becomes very apparent who this is. It all clicks together, and it truly makes you feel pity for those affected by his actions, which must be thousands upon thousands, hell, possibly hundreds of thousands by the time of DS3. What has he been up to all that time? Was he always in the profaned capital? Or was when the fire rained down upon the profaned capital, did he split off from the fire As we know in DS2, he is actually a part of the flame. He's not some separate entity, he's fused with it. Perhaps when Yorm linked the fire, he saw an opportunity and he took it. In conclusion, the Pontiff Sulyvahn is not evil. In fact, from everything we know, he's a pretty upstanding guy and as good as people really get in FromSoftware's universe. He is a victim of Aldia and has done nothing wrong. He is not a villain at all. This is why I always say in my videos that I love to look at different characters in, well, different ways that aren't necessarily the norm, because there is so much to FromSoftware's characters. So if you look at it from one point of view, you'll miss out on so much. Sadly everyone, that is the end of the video. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below, and there should be some more of our videos popping up on the screen right now. I think we've got about 42 lore videos, maybe a bit more, so you know what? Got some catching up to do. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you all in the next one, and may you all find your worth in the waking world. Goodbye everyone.